Hello everybody, this is Chris from the Guerrilla Trader. I just wanted to take a quick second and share a message with you. This is in regards to the recent unemployment rate announcements. Those of you that were on our webinar last week know that I went off on unemployment just a little bit, talking about how it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and about how when sometimes news that looks like it's good and has a positive effect on the market may not actually be good. So I just wanted to talk to you really fast about what happened last Friday. Now last Friday the unemployment rate and non-farm jobs claim announcements came out, and they were both much better than expected. Just a month ago the unemployment rate was up to 10.2%. This month when the announcement came out last Friday it was down to 10%, and jobs lost were clear down to only 11,000 jobs lost, which compared to previous months is a huge improvement. Now the numbers that you're seeing may actually not be exactly what it is that you're envisioning or picturing. It seems like the government or whatever entity it is that releases this number likes to play with it just a little bit. And the unemployment rate is 10%, right? But that does not take into consideration or take into account the number of people who are not currently quote unquote in the job market. So if people aren't right at that second looking for a job because they've given up or the plant closed down in their town or whatever, if they're not actually looking for a job, those numbers don't get counted. If someone managed to land a job at Walmart working for 3 hours a week, then they're employed. That doesn't get counted. The extreme underemployment is not counted in unemployment, and neither are people that are quote unquote not in the job market. So estimates are that the actual unemployment rate is closer to 17.2% rather than the 10% that was announced. Now, that being said, let's take a look, if I can get my computer to behave normally, let's take a look really fast at what the unemployment rate announcement did on Friday. So the unemployment announcement came out, the markets instantly jumped by 10 full points, over 10 points, jumped from 1101 to over 1111 in less than 1 minute, and within the first few minutes we're up 13 points. So you would expect movement like that because it was off so far. However, you would think that if that was as positive for the economy as everyone would want you to believe, hey, the unemployment rate is down by 0.2%, which is a huge number really, and jobs lost are clear down to only 11,000, you'd think that that would have a lot of strength behind it. You'd think that would go a long ways towards really moving the overall markets up. Well, let's look at what the market did for the rest of the day on Friday. So you had this huge jump up right after market open, and this was in response to the unemployment claims. Then throughout the day the market petered back down even below where it started at some points, and ended the day right about where it began the day. And if I remember correctly, the reason people assigned to that, or the experts, quote unquote experts assigned to this decrease, was something about this, if I remember right, strengthening dollar or something along those lines. But you would think that if those unemployment announcements, the unemployment rate was really legitimate and was really as positive of an indicator as people would have you believe, that it would have a lot of muscle, a lot of beef holding this up here, and would really help the market at least throughout the day, if not throughout the next few weeks, to really start to push up. But it couldn't even hold it for a couple of hours. Now, something else I want to point out, going back to the unemployment, or the new unemployment claims announcement, I mentioned in my previous webinar that the unemployment claims were down to only 466,000 new claims. That was a week ago last Thursday. Well, it seems that the government actually played with those numbers a little bit too. Apparently that $466,000 number, which was $35,000 down from the, excuse me, 35,000 people down from the previous week, which would seem like a huge drop, but it seems that that was actually a seasonally adjusted number. Once you look at the actual number, which was actually 543,000, the it was actually $68,000 higher, or 68,000 people higher than the previous week. So the government played with that number a little bit to make it look better than it actually was. You had actual unemployment claims, new unemployment claims of 543,000. You had seasonally adjusted of 466,000, and the spread there was over 80,000. Over 80,000 difference between what the government reported was the actual unemployment claims and what they actually truly were. Also, just so you know, 24 states are currently borrowing to pay for unemployment, and 15 states have borrowed a combined $15 billion to pay unemployment claims. So the long and short of what I'm trying to tell you is, don't necessarily believe everything you see about unemployment. There's always a story hiding behind whatever the announcement is, and unemployment may be getting worse at a lower rate, but it is still getting worse. But what that means is it's going to continue to have a huge, massive effect on the markets. Let's go back and look at the Friday movement here. I mean, you had a 10-point jump in 1 minute. I talked to one person, I shouldn't say I talked to him, I received an email from one person who actually made 7 3/4 points in just a few seconds on this trade on Friday, trading the method that you can learn about if you've watched Kevin's interview. That's 77.5% they made in about a minute trading this, and it's because you had this huge, massive movement that was caused by the unemployment announcement. Now, if you know when these announcements are going to occur and you can expect this kind of movements, then you can really, really become successful as a trader. Now, if you haven't watched Kevin's interview, I've actually included a link to it on the email that's going out announcing this particular video. So if you have watched that, great. If you haven't, go back and take a look at it. Anyway, just a quick message I wanted to share with you from the Guerrilla Trader. Don't necessarily believe everything that you see about unemployment. It may or may not be completely accurate. And look for ways that you can take advantage of the movement that the unemployment rates, unemployment claims are going to continually cause in the markets out there. And with that, this is the Guerrilla Trader, and we'll talk to you next time.